What's up, friends? Fenthwick here, back with another free Unity tutorial. This time we're going to be covering how you can create this retro aesthetic style PSX survival horror game, a la Silent Hill or Fear Effect. Um, it's going to be a fun project. Looks a little complicated, but don't worry, it's actually dead simple. To the point that even if you're really new to Unity, I think you'll be able to figure it out. I'm going to try to go slow and make sure I walk you through the steps as good as I can in order to make sure everyone can follow along. But if I'm going too fast, just pause, take a deep breath, roll back a bit. If you're completely brand new to Unity, I'd recommend checking out my friend Brackus for a 101 interface level style tutorial, because I'm going to assume you've got like a basic understanding of the Unity interface. But otherwise, yeah, um, should be pretty easy. So if you're ready to get started, let's go. Now this here Unity project is going to begin same as all the others by opening up Unity Hub and creating a new project. So if we just hop in here, click New Project, I'm going to name it Survival Horror Experience. Place it wherever the hell you want. I already have a project named that, so ignore that there. And we're going to choose the 3D built-in render pipeline in order to create this here project. Normally I like to use the universal render pipeline, but the assets we're using today, well, they need the built-in render pipeline, so that's okay. It works just as well. Now, I already created this project, so I'm just gonna, open it up. And while you've opened yours up, I'm gonna go over the project assets we're going to be utilizing. So, first and foremost, we're grabbing the PSX shader kit from Valerie Moza. This is a lovely free asset that works again with the built-in render pipeline. That's really its only fallback. It's actually one of the more fully featured retro aesthetic style low poly PSX shader type guys. I prefer the PSX effects pack from Triple Axis, but it's 20 bucks. So for now, we're just gonna use this one. And I really only prefer this one because it works with the URP, the Universal Render Pipeline, which I prefer for other projects, but I digress. This will do us for now, so click Add to My Assets, and click Open in Unity. You know the drill. Boom. Once you've clicked Open in Unity, it's going to pop up the package manager here. You're just going to want to click Import. I've already got these files in my project, so I don't have to do that, but you do. Next up, we're going to grab the multi-state character controller from Imitation Studios. There are many character controllers out there. Many like it, but this one is mine. I prefer it because, well, honestly, the animations are actually a little bit janky. They're not the best, but it works out great for our sort of PS1 stilted, low poly aesthetic type experience. Plus, for more modern sensibilities, it's great because it allows for multi-state character animations. So when you enter a specific trigger zone, the character will be affixed to a sort of, like one line of animation. So you could use that for having them climb ladders or squeeze through little gaps, as you saw here, so that you can, hide your loading screens like a proper modern game. Um, it's a little bit deprecated, this project. It's no longer being supported, but that's okay, because, well, I'll show you how to use it. Next up, we got this Metro model from El Bolillo. It's a simple low poly subway scene, and I think, given its low polyness plus the way that we're going to combine it with the PSX effects shader, it looks, well, pretty classic. El Bolillo actually does a lot of good work with some low poly models, so if you want to continue this project and grab some PSX style models to make more scenes with, you should check their account out, as well as just in general on Sketchfab. Got a lot of great models available if you just search PSX, sort by downloadable, and then yeah, good stuff. So, Ninja, uh, have our survival horror hero fights some ninjas and skeletons. Maybe they're high school bully. But I digress. For now, we're going to grab this character model. It's called Female Secretary Character PSX by Vinrax. Very low poly, so it's great for our needs. Don't really know why she's a secretary. Just looks like any sort of like lady in a businessy pantsuit. I guess the skirt's pretty short, but it's 2024. You can have some pretty short skirts in the workplace without being a secretary. That's anyway. But she looks like one of those 90s survival horror style heroes, a la Fear Effect or Silent Hill, like I said. So I think she'll do great, especially because with the PSX shader, her vertexes are going to be all nice and wobbly. It's going to be great. Finally, just grab yourself a flashlight mesh. For the original sample project, I was using a handheld flashlight, which I was affixing to the character's hand using the animation rigging system, which we can go over in a later tutorial, but for now, we're just going to affix a sort of chest-style flashlight to the character's armature so that it's just, pointing out of their chest wherever they look. Something you'll see in a lot of games, because it's hard to get a virtual character to hold stuff. Pro tip, avoid that whenever you can. So, now that we've downloaded those meshes, we're going to crack into the Unity project, but, oh no, what's happened? I've imported the multi-state character controller, and I've already got a bunch of errors here. Now that's weird, but never fret. Again, this character controller is a little wonky to start off with, but that's okay. So, I'm gonna pull up the documentation for you, and we can make some sense of it together. Now, the funny thing about this multi-state character controller is that it is pretty recently deprecated as far as Unity assets are concerned, but deprecated enough that in the last couple of years, not even like a year and a half, the person's website has completely gone down. So, lucky you're here with me, because we're going to use the power of the Internet Wayback Machine to pull up their documentation and figure out how to set up this here character controller. Oops. Hang on 1 second. I don't want that one. I want, yeah, MSCC, getting started. And then I want to copy that, drop it into the Wayback Machine. And here we are, ta-da, through the magic of the Internet Wayback Machine, we've got ourselves some documentation. So, I'll drop a link to this in the description in case you want to follow along from there, but mostly the number one thing you got to do is set up these input layers. So the character is looking for input axes within the original Unity input system, which is currently deprecated. Again, this project's a little bit out there, but it's okay, because with a little bit of tweaking, we can get anything to work in any version of Unity. First and foremost, we're going to open up we're going to go to File, Project Settings, and we're going to grab the Input Manager, Axis. So we're going to take this and we're going to go 20. We want to drop down here to these cancels that just opened up. So we're going to call this one Sidestep. Go Sidestep, and it wants to have two keys. The positive button it wants to have as E, and the negative button it wants to have as Q. We're going to E, Q, moving on. Next one up is the cancel button, or rather the up down axis. So we're going to go up down, and we're going to go, what does it want? ZX. So positive button Z, negative button X. So it also wants you to take these gravity and sensitivity functions and add them and change them to the equivalents from other movement positions. So for example, horizontal and vertical here for the WA and the SSD, they have negative, or the gravity is 3 and the dead zone's 0.001. So we want to grab those values and add them to the sidestep and up-down axes, because the sidestep is basically like a strafe animation. Um, and so we need it to be same as the other input axes, um, snappy. Um, so there we go. Take that, make that a 3 as well on the up down, and then make sure you click snap because that's how we get it snappy. And finally, close out. So with that, we should be able to hit clear. Now, the scene would have loaded without all those anyway, but that's okay. So next up, we got to add ground, projected player, character rep, and disable land to the layers. If you've never used the layers function, don't worry, it's pretty easy. I'm gonna go click up here in the bottom, the top right-hand corner, and choose Edit Layers, and grab the layers here. Now, once again, we're gonna grab ground, projected player, character rep, ground, projected player, camel case, character rep, also camel case, and disable land. There you go. Also camel case. I feel like camel case made a lot more sense when I was younger, when you know, I was just thinking about camels on a more regular basis. Um, there's a lot of things like that when you're a kid. Uh, Anyway, so now we're going to go to the collision matrix. So the layer system is really useful in Unity because it allows you to determine what interacts with what. So for example, if you've got a bunch of colliders on your character controller, as we're about to see here, that we don't want to collide with each other, right? So for example, like if you've got a hitbox on your character as well as, like fists that allow you to do damage to other characters, you don't want those fists to be colliding with their hitbox as they run around, or else they're going to be doing damage to themselves, punching themselves in the collider all the time. So um, we're going to go into the project settings again, click Edit Project Settings, go to Layers. Oh, wait, no, it's in Physics. So you want to scroll down to Physics, and this here, this little doohickey here is the Physics Layer uh, Grid guy. I don't know. So right off the bat, it says we want to disable, let's see, uh, enable only ground. Oh wait, no, this is, there you go. Character rep, with character rep, we want to make sure that, so that means that the character rep down here and then character rep up here, we want to make sure those are both disabled so that character rep objects are not going to collide with any other objects on the layer character rep. Same goes for projected player character rep. So in this case, the projected player is the mesh of the character, whereas the character rep is their like actual physical representation in the space. It's colliders and stuff. So the projected player might as well just be a mesh and the ragdoll attached to it. So we don't want those colliding, or else, well, your character is going to jank out. We don't like that. So hopping over into this tutorial again, following along, we just want to make sure that projected player and projected player are also not colliding with one another. So for those, I think that's it for those three. Projected player, character rep, yep. Easy enough. Next up, we're going to grab the actual sample scene for this project. So save our settings. Auto-saved, actually, don't worry about it. So we're going to go to Assets, Multi-State Character Controller, click into the demo scene. Oh no, sorry. Multi-state character controller scenes for the demo scene. Open there up, and looks like that. We got ourselves a little character controller guy. So this fella here, as the guide explains, has sort of three factors here. So the character's got the actual character here, Now that's where the like physics collider objects are. You see these uh, various cylinders and squares on the object. That is how the character itself is going to interact with itself and the world. Whereas the player collider here, this is actually what's determining interactions with the environment. So this capsule here is, as far as the environment's concerned, as far as the collision is concerned, the character itself is just kind of like a cylinder that's like scooting along the ground. And then the animation is just playing on top of that to make it look like they're pushing their feet off the ground. When in actuality, it's just this little pill scooting around the ground. Game dev, it's silly. So, player unit test character here uh, is just a prefab setup. You're going to see, we're going to grab the empty character model in a moment. But first, just got to make sure that this guy's got the right layers. So uh, if we go down here, set the layer for the game objects as follows. Um, so we've already, when we created those new layers, the projected player character rep layer, um, it automatically assigned them based on the old scene setting. So it looks like character rep and projected player on the player objects are already assigned in terms of layers. So we can skip that step in the description. Um, we want to make sure that any walkable surface is layered ground. So it looks like that's already the case for this scene. Pretty cool. Um, that it's actually pretty great about this asset package is that you've essentially got these three factors, these three collision layers are really all you need to have your character interact with 90% of the game world. Um, so now that we've got those assigned, let's make sure that our guy is working out okay. Let's drop him down here. Yep, looks like he's able to run around just fine. So you can see he's got kind of like a little bit of momentum to him. Um, and for the current, so the this asset package is pretty cool because it's got a variety of different camera modes and systems so that you can have the character controller react in different ways. So for example, right now, if we go to the camera rig on our character here, uh, we can see that it's got multi-state player input script in the inspector window here. This component is what's driving both the character function and the camera rig function in different ways. So, for example, if we change the control scheme from modern unlocked to locked, we are going from a sort of like Witcher style. You can swing the camera around yourself at any angle until you start moving the camera. Well, check it out. So it's modern locked because it's a bit like a sort of Last of Us style or um, a more proper modern adventure game style experience. Um, whereas Christmas crackers, there we go. Modern unlocked is as we were saying, so it's like you can rotate the camera around the player, but as soon as you click in a direction, they will they will head in that direction. So, for example, if we got the camera facing the character, and we push W to go forward, they'll turn around and go in that direction. Um, we've also got modern unlocked type A, which actually changes that and makes it so that you can push in any direction. So I'm pressing the D key right now, and the camera is not swiveling to face me. I can have the character facing in any direction. I can move towards the camera. I can move left and right. It's suitable for like platforming style experiences where you want to have more fine control of the character. So yeah, it's a pretty cool character controller. Here we can see a sample of the rail system. So it doesn't seem very fascinating or doesn't seem very exciting from the footage, but what you'll find is that when the character enters this zone here, oh, I've fallen off and now I'm swimming. I digress. So this is neither here nor there. So our character controller works. That's very exciting. So now we're going to stop this scene And we're going to set up this character and replace his body with our new asset. So to begin, we're going to grab the multi-state character controller here, go to prefabs, and we're going to grab the player unit empty.prefab. We're going to make sure that its transform is zeroed out. So just make sure that the transform here is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and that they are pretty much on the ground. So because they're not on the ground from here, we're just going to actually just shift click grab the entire scene that isn't our player character and drag it up so that it's in line with this here Unity floor grid. That way we make sure that this is working properly. Yeah, it's probably good enough. So yeah, now we're grabbing the player unit empty here, and we're going to also grab our secretary asset. Gonna click download 3D model. You can grab any format. I like FBX. Unity likes FBX too, so and we're gonna grab that there, download. We're gonna scoot on over here, drop that in the assets folder, and now we got our friend female secretary character PSX2. Um, just double click this here zip to open it up. It's gonna try to open a new window, but don't be fooled, it's already unzipped. I mean, if you're on Windows, you might have to zip it from the Finder. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is we can delete the zip file once we've got our folder unpacked here. And first off, uh, well, let's drag her into the scene. Let's see how she looks. Um, so pretty good. But she's well, a little shiny for our needs, right? So what we're gonna want to do is change her shader. Now, when you first import models and rigs into Unity, one of the first things you're going to want to do is select the actual asset itself. So in our case, that's in source female secretary, femalesecretary.fbx, and we're going to want to change her animation type on the rig tab from generic to humanoid. Thankfully, this model is already pre-rigged for us, so we don't have to worry about going into Blender and dealing with that ourselves. So just click Apply. Now she's human. Can't really tell the difference, but it's important. Then you click on over to Materials here, and we're going to want to click Extract Materials. You can just have it drop in the same materials folder as the secretary asset itself. And now we got our material. Thankfully, she's only just got the one. So we got our material, we got our secretary, we got our friends. Now we're gonna wanna now start using our cool PSX shader. Now as good a time as any. So to change a shader type, right now this is the standard shader. Since if you've already got the PSX shader in your project, all you're going to need to do is click Standard, go down to PSX, and we're going to choose Vertex Lit. And already she's looking a lot more like a classic PlayStation character model here. Right? Look at that. Looks great. But another thing you're going to want to do with all of your PlayStation assets is go into here and click this here texture that came with her. Now you'll find that Unity's doing a lot of wonderful work to optimize, compress, and modernize textures across the board in order to make well, things just look better. But we don't want things to look better right now. We want it to look worse because that's stylistic. So we're going to click on this here texture, and you're going to want to pretty much do this with basically all of the textures that you're using in the project. But we'll start with this one. Click on the secretary underscore text.png and then choose texture type sprite. Then we're going to want to change from um, advanced here. We're going to change to generate bitmaps. And what really is important is that we go down here to filter mode, which is the mesh filter, and we want to change it to point no filter. And then down here, where it says the max texture size. Now we can see down here that her texture size is already 256 by 256, which is perfect for our needs. But for most of the other textures we're pulling in to make sure that they're consistent with the PlayStation style, we're going to change the max size to 256. And then here's the most important part. You change compression here to none because they didn't have no fancy compression algorithms back in the 90s. They just had raw pixels. So once you hit apply here, you're going to see, boom, look at that. Now the shading, I mean the compression on her pixels is, well, none. And in doing so, we're getting, that hard shaded look that's, well, really important, especially when it comes to dithering effects and other things that make, well, these models, instead of using anti-aliasing or other techniques to make it sure that they had smooth lines and compressed nice lines on textures, well, things were just raw and chunky. So yeah, that's a great start. So we'll deal with some more PlayStation effects later, but for now, let's take female secretary here. She's already like standing in the right spot to integrate her with this prefab. So these two circles are supposed to amount to like the bounds of her character. So if you check it out here, if we drag our test character down, we also put him at 0, 0, 0. We want her to be about the same size as him. So let's just grab her there, and we're gonna scale her up a bit. So 1.225, 1.225 across the board, and yeah, she's about ready to go now. Cool. Oh, let's make sure we save this as a separate scene before we continue. So let's just call this PSX shader test. Then we're going to want to set her up. So player unit empty is going to be our base prefab for her from now on. So let's just take this and unpack it. So we're going to right click on player unit empty, click prefab, and then click unpack completely. Now we can drag our secretary model into here. First and foremost, let's call her, I don't, we, she's, she's not a secretary to us. She's our survival horror hero. Boom. Now let's drag her into the, under character gyro. We're going to want to place it right there. See, if we look at the other unlit test character as an example, so the character gyro right here has the base character attached like so. So we're going to want to do the same thing for our friend here. We're going to grab this here gyro and multi-state character controller, yalla. Perfect. And I'll pop into local references here, and you see the only thing that we're missing basically is these ragdoll references as well as these animation references. So if you click on the player drop down, this multi-state character controller script is basically the brains of the operation. And we're going to want to copy these settings. So if we go to player on the finished version, you see he's got all of these references to his various ragdoll elements as well as his feet. Now, thankfully, this is easier than it looks. So what we're going to want to do is click on our female secretary here, and then we're going to want to grab we're going to right click here, and we're going to go to 3D object, ragdoll. Now from here, we can just assign her armature elements. So they're called different things. In this case, her hips are her pelvis. Her left hips are actually her left thigh and right thigh. We're going to want to grab her knee as well, but the knee in this case is shin. And we're going to grab this right shin as well. And then the feet. 1 foot, 2 foot, red foot, or I guess in this case, left arm. left elbow, left arm. So in this case, I was confused because the last time I thought, I messed up phrases. I thought, oh, hips or hips. So then we'll start with shoulder. But no, what it wants is the upper arm. I'm going to go left upper arm, right upper arm, and then left elbow is the lower arm. Same goes for the right elbow, forearm, forearm. The middle spine is her chest. So it helps to look at, so if you're having trouble figuring this out for other models, what you can do is go over to the example character and click through their rig. So test character here on their human rig, they have hips, classic, same difference, chin, foot, and then spine 1, spine 2, spine 3. If you want to figure out which one's the middle chest, you can just click on the player and then look at the references here. So middle spine, spine 2. Okay, so that's for us, that's chest. So we're gonna grab chest over here, middle spine, and then we'll grab underneath the chest and attached to the neck is the head. Now that's it. We can click create, and then just like that, our friend here has developed some cylindrical growths. This is her ragdoll collider setup. Okay, so now that we've got all these ragdoll elements here, we've just got to assign all of these to the rigid body setup. Now that could take a while, unfortunately, but I have a quick solution here. So we're gonna disable the test character. Now watch, we're just gonna search in the hierarchy for rigid body. Now, all of the lit objects here are the references we want. So all you got to do is grab from the top down, chest, forearm, head. Oh wait, no, we're gonna click on player so that we've got her locked. We're gonna hit the lock icon up here. This is a really useful function in Unity that's been hiding up there for ages. If you haven't used it yet, it's really important because every time you click on something in Unity, it changes what's focused in the inspector, but frequently you want to click on something so you can drag it into a reference in the inspector, and so locking the inspector lets you do that. So now it's locked to the player, and we can just go through and click forearm, left, head, hip, shin, shin, thigh, thigh. There we go. Now you just drag all of these onto the top here. Oh wait, no, first we're gonna want to zero this out. So make those references gone, and then you drop it back in, boom. That's it. Finally, we're gonna want to grab her feet. So foot, same as before. So it's cool because his feet are grayed out, so we know that those ones are hers, even though they're labeled the same. Left foot, right foot. Always gets me where I need to go. My left foot, I think. Is it? Anyway, my left foot always has been better than the right one. I think it's a musical. I don't know. I don't know where this stuff comes into my head from. All right, so we've got all of the references set up for her in the inspector. Now we're not not necessarily sure if that's it. If I recall correctly, I think that's all we need to do, but let's check. So save our project here, and then we're gonna want to click play and see if she runs around okay. Oh, she like instantly ragdolled, so that's not right. What are we missing here? Let's see. We got character, gyro, physics, gyro. Oh wait, well, let's unlock our friend and let's go through the setup here. Ah, yes, I see. So the thing we're missing here is that we need to add an animator component to our friend here. So we're gonna go to character, Yiro, female secretary. So she's got an animator component in her already, but what she doesn't have is the multi-state character controller as well as a, let's see if that's on here as well. I think what we're missing is, yes, the animation event handler. So that's an important one as well. So we go to female secretary. she's not a secretary. She's an action hero. I mean, I guess secretaries can be action heroes too. But we're gonna grab that and click add component and animation event handler. And then we're gonna reference this here, player multi-state. So because we unpacked the prefab, the one that we're looking for is the grayed out player. And that's, I think, it now. Give it another go. All right, cool. So she's stuck in a running animation. Looks very dramatic, but not necessarily what we want. So see here, we got a null reference exception. She's missing some. You know, I bet she needs to be on a set layer. Let's check. Go over to hero. Yep, character rep. Okay, so she's missing the reference to the fact that she's supposed to be a character rep. So we go character rep over here. Yes, change children, thank you. And does, I think gyro should also have a reference. Yes, okay, so gyro should also be character rep. I think that's it. Does the character also have a reference? That's also character. Okay, so we want all of that to be assigned character rep. Yes, change children. Player needs to be, I think player should be projected player. Yeah, see, that's weird. Projected player. There we go. Change all the children for that. Let's check our work. I think we've got plenty of references set up. So this is an example of how bug testing can frequently work in Unity, where you just kind of try to see what you're missing. Ah, there we go. Still don't have a reference to her animator. That's all. Unity's silly sometimes. Okay, so we're just gonna grab our animator there. We're gonna hit save, and there we go. There's our friend. So she's running around. She's jumping. She's jumping on down here. Oh, something I forgot to mention is that the oh, look at it, check it out. So this is a pretty fully featured character controller, and that it's got a lot of stuff already for like fall damage and other solutions. So and once again, we can grab the camera rig here, change it from classic to, let's try modern unlocked, so we can move the camera around, look at ourselves as we go. Hey, well, wouldn't be a YouTube tutorial without a couple OBS crashes in the center. So getting back to work here. Let's go back into our project. Well, you won't have to do this. You're in your project. Lucky you. So loading it up here. We were just running around with our newly functional character controller, but we ran into an issue. Well, you might not have yet, but I did. So when you're running around here in play mode, so she's very functional. She can jump and she can swim if I jump in the water over there. But one thing she can't do currently is interact with these chest-high walls. Like a proper video game character, she's supposed to be able to take cover or vault over these, but currently it's not functioning. And the reason that is not because of any particular code error, it's just because we've got two of these character controllers in the scene, and the walls don't know which one they should pay attention to. So let's say goodbye to our good old QB friend. He's taught us so much. Goodbye, player unit test character. You will be missed. And now, now that we got our survival horror hero, uh, she's looking a little gray over here. Let's actually drag her into the asset panel and create a prefab. So just drop her into the asset panel. Oh, there she is. I guess I already made one before OBS crashed. That's fine. Yeah, this isn't a problem you're gonna have, but I'm just gonna rename that. Okay, I'm gonna delete her, and then I'm gonna rename this one. Okay. So now, we've deleted our other player controller, so hopefully she'll be able to do some vaulting. Hey, there you go. She's running around. She's vaulting over chest-high walls. I mean, look at this. You hold C. Boom. She's even dodge rolling. That right there, that's a video game character if I've ever seen one. So, now that she's fully functional, um, time to make her a 90s style survival horror environment to run around because these vapor wavy liminal squares are not really doing it. Um, she's got vertex issues to see. She's got ill-advised tank controls to enjoy. So we're gonna keep the scene that we've got. Hit save real quick, and you know what? We just might as well just delete the floor. That's really all we need to do for now. Just throw it out. We can leave barricades up here because we're going to want to just pull the functionality from a few of them. You might not have noticed, but each of these has different functionalities. So this one you can crouch behind. These ones you can vault over. This one you can crouch and vault. I think the lines mean different things. Check out the check out the different scripts and settings on each of these barricades so that you can experience them yourself. Yeah, there you go. So this one's normal. That one's vault only. That one's cover only. That one's cover on one side, etc. And a drop barricade. Ooh, I didn't even know there's an option. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, so she's got, there's a, anyway, I digress. Um, the main thing now is to build a wonderful little environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the Metro asset. Now I did this before my OBS crashed, so I'm going to delete that and do it again. We're going to go on over to, let's see here. Boop. And, oh, come on, where are you, Safari? There we are. All right, Metro. Hopefully I should just, yeah, there we are. Thanks, El Bolillo, for your wonderful work. Gonna grab the FBX right here. Grab that out of the downloads folder. Drag this over so I can make sure that gets in there. And now that we got that, I'm gonna crack her open. Same as before, we're gonna have to unpack the RAR file. Sketchfab models are weird like that because they'll have the texture folder outside the source folder, but then as soon as you import the actual model folder, it just, well, just puts all of those textures in the same spot. But for now, for some reason, my computer wants to open this RAR file with VLC player. That's not ideal. There we go. So we can delete that. And swap on back to Unity. There we go. So we got our own little Metro PSX here. Now, same as before, we're going to want to hop on into the Metro model itself, and we're going to extract materials. Now you can drop that in the, oh geez. Less ideal this time to have all of the materials in just one big pile out here because we're going to want to actually change a great deal of them at once. But that's okay. If you're in the same boat as me, then, well, solidarity, brother. All right, so let's drop this Metro underscore ESC file right into our scene, and voila, we got ourselves a little subway. Oh, our friend is kind of sticking through the roof there. So let's drag that old subway right on up until it's about, let's see, probably 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now she's on ground. All right, lovely environment so far, but we've got some lights that have come with the environment that are, well, not having a great time currently. So we're going to want to fix that. Let's go into Metro ESC. Now, a great deal of 3D models will come with their area lights, as you can see here, as well as This is a camera. This is a straight up camera in the scene. If we go to the game tab, yep, look at that. So it's reverted from our character controller camera to uh, this subway camera, which we don't want. So let's just go ahead and right click on the Metro model, hit prefab, unpack completely, because we're going to want to do a great deal of damage to this model. Next up, we're going to want to find whichever light here is the one that's really overblown. Because at the end of the day, it's actually really useful to maintain lights like this where um, like that is appropriately placed for our needs. We can change the light type to something like spot, and then change the spot angle so that it's like pointed at the ground, projected in such a way that it's a little bit more PlayStation X-y, but we still want to keep lights coming out of these light fixtures that are part of the model. So it's worth it to keep the lights that are placed in models, even cameras, often enough. But stuff like this, though, it seems like the there we go. So the point lights inside this here train are a little intense. For some reason, they're set to intensity 575, which is a lot. So over here in the hierarchy, we're going to shift select all of these point lights, and I do believe that is exactly all of the ones inside this train. And we're just going to set those to 1. Great. All right, already solved for. Well, one more thing is we've got this big sort of void coming out of the side of the model here because we're going to be running around this subway, but we're not going to want to see this giant hole in the geometry. So let's just take this particular set of geo. There we go. Grab that guy. And let's just copy paste it. So we're going to hit Command D to duplicate and just drag it over. So let's see, does that line up quite right? Not quite right. Just scoot it on over here. Boom. And then same deal. Oh, wait. No, we've got a problem here. So we can't just extend the tunnel because the ceiling here is going to block our ability to walk up the stairs. So instead, let's do the same thing, but we'll do a quick, let's see, what axis is this? X. We'll just take this little negative here and delete it and hit enter. And now we've got, wait, that didn't work. Oh, I guess that's the y-axis. All right, so we're going to delete this little minus. Boom. There we go. So now that model has been reversed spatially. So we got ourselves um, this little section of track over here that we're going to line up on this side. There we go. So it's not quite accurate because, well, now the track is shifted a great deal, and, well, that doesn't look right. But doesn't really matter. It'll do for now. So let's take that guy, duplicate it a few times. And that way, when we stand over here, we don't really immediately see that it's a non-existent tunnel. But this is not the thing to be focused on right now. So we're in this lovely scene here. We got ourselves a character controller, right? We just want to start running around this environment. But well, we're gonna run into some trouble as soon as we hit play here. Well, first and foremost, we don't even see our character, who's presumably gone. Um, because there's still that other camera that came with the model. So let's just click on that camera gizmo in the scene and just, well, first we're going to want to unhit play, and then we're going to click and delete that camera. Just don't need it no more. Nope, that was the chair. Just don't need you no more. Great. Now we can see, we hit play. Yep, there goes our friend. What a fun game. You know, peak gameplay right there. Just start a game, fall to your death. So no, we don't want that. We're gonna want to create some colliders for this environment that we've already got here. Now, most of the time in a Unity experience, you don't necessarily want to do this, but it is, well, rather efficient in this case. So what we're gonna do is we're going to grab all of the floor elements. So each one of these is ST, probably for station. So we select all the ST objects. There we go. Um, we've got basically everything in the scene, and we're just going to click Add Component, Mesh Collider. See that? You don't normally want to use mesh colliders for just about everything, but in this case, because the models themselves are pretty low poly, and because, well, because we're lazy, it's going to work out fine. If I had my druthers, what you would do is you would take, this particular section of track right here, right? And you could, instead of adding a mesh collider, add a cube collider, or rather a box collider. And, no, not box collider 2D. Boom. Add a box collider 3D. Make sure you can see the gizmos in the scene. And click Edit Collider. And then you would just, add different box collider components, lower this to the ground so that it's lined up with the earth, and then grab this other end and line it up like that. Rather tedious, but, well, if you've worked with Unity at all, you know the drill. It's pretty important to make sure that your colliders are efficiently performant and, well, they're not just endless mesh colliders, because that'll ruin your performance a great deal. But in this case, we're basically fine. There's not more than like a few primitives at the end of the day of mesh collision as it stands. This model's pretty performant, so we'll be okay. Now, now that we've added mesh colliders to everything, and keep in mind, don't tick convex. You normally do if you're using mesh colliders for, well, interactable objects, externally interactable objects. But in this case, just leave it as it is, and yeah, hope for the best. Let's see. Hit play. Great. So now she's just dancing on the ground because we've forgotten there's one more thing we want to do to all of our ST friends, and that is to add a layer ground. Also, these stairs are probably going to want to make sure we add a mesh collider to the stairs as well. And there we go. Gonna hit play. Gonna run our friend through. There she goes. Running like the best of them. All right, so now we got ourselves a lovely subway environment. Oh, that train doesn't have any colliders. And we're gonna go through and make sure that everything's hunky-dory in terms of collision. So let's grab this train here. Just the whole body should be fine. Subway car, add component, mesh collider. Now this one we could probably have as convex because I don't think you're going to be getting in the train. So that's going to be far more performant if you can get away with it. Stuff like this as well. Let's just add a capsule collider for the trash can. That's not terribly accurate, but it'll do for now. Same goes for these guys. They can just have a box collider or two, you know. But this is just standard Unity fare. This doesn't really have anything to do with the scene or not. Just important to, make sure that your colliders are accurate. Especially if you're doing anything, first person or up close, VR especially, something where you need to make sure that colliders are consistent with the objects that they're over, so that the users don't get, it's very unimmersive to, oh, you want to jump on this chair here, oh yeah, what a lovely comfy chair. I would love to sit in that chair. Let's try to, oh no, what? Oh, I can't sit in that. Immersion shattered. Not ideal. So yeah, let's keep it like this instead. Yeah, there you go. See, so immersive. Oh, you're also gonna want to probably make that the ground. Anything you're gonna jump on top of, make it a ground. Um, Even that might seem a little bit tedious, but compared to most other character controllers or game engines in which um, you've basically got to assign all interactables by hand. So this character control is pretty handy in that regard. Um, right. So yes, y'all can do that on your own time. Um, for now, let's scoot our survival horror hero forward a smidge. Oh, also, I don't know what's going on here with her. I think that's her head collider. Yeah, let's just go ahead and resize that. I don't think it's caused any trouble yet, but it probably will. We go to gyro, our wonderful, powerful lady hero, hips. Actually, if we just click on powerful lady hero, nope. Character, nope. Player. Head, rigid body. There it is. There she is. And yep, there it is. Nope, that is the head. it's I don't know why it's that big, but that's fine because we can just hit edit collider and reach up here, drag. It's hard to see the like blacked out collider dots often enough, but very useful to be able to grab them. So just shrink that down to about the size of her head, and looking good. All right, let's apply the changes to our survival hero prefab for now, and get back to our subway. So this environment looks pretty cool, but it's very bright for one thing, not very horror-y, and for another, I mean, look at these textures, look at these lines, look at these vertices, so straight and consistent. I mean, that won't do it all. We've got to grab all of the materials in our panel here. We go down the line through the Metro PSX folder. So we go into Metro 2, Source, Metro PSX, and we're just going to grab every material in here. So we're going to sort by material, make sure we're clicking on that Metro PCX, and going to select everything. 52 materials, 26 materials. Oh, see, this is what you get. We've got a shoot ton of standard materials that we no longer want, and you could click through and find all the versions that are the ones that we created earlier, or we can just go into models and no, whatever. Sometimes it's smarter to be tedious. Work harder, not what you think is smarter, but instead will take a lot longer, is my motto. Especially when it comes to game development or coding in general. I find that you can spend, you're like, oh, I'd save so much time if I just developed this method or framework in order to, improve my efficiency. The chasing of metrics is often a fool's errand. Um, but yeah, now we've selected all of the materials in the Metro underscore PSX folder, and that's 26 of them, and they're all editable. And we're gonna just click shader, standard, PSX, vertex lit cutout for this one. Now we want to choose cutout because some of these materials are meant to be transparent, like the windows of this train, and or this garbage can here, and that's nice because other objects that don't have transparency. So a cutout material is one in which the transparency is baked into the diffuse, and it's treated as basically like a well, doesn't matter. It's an opaque object with transparent sections. That's all that matters. So we've got some vertex lit PlayStation style materials here. We've got a PlayStation style vertex lit lady, but the whole scene's still not looking very wobbly. Now, our next step, we can go ahead and save our PSX shader test scene. And for simplicity's sake, we're going to just go ahead and, well, steal some work from another scene. We're going to click into PSX shader kit here, go to assets, PSX shader kit, demo, load her up, and then we've got, look at this, an absolutely lovely kitchen scene with some, oh my god, just beautifully, horribly, cutesy pixelated, just mess. You can't even see what's going on. Fantastic. This is what we want. Well, not necessarily this. This is a little much, but so in this case, the reason that we've got, so as you can see, we've got some of our PSX shaders going on in the scene. Where is everything? Like even outside of the camera effect, you can see some of these inaccurate vertices. But in the case of the difference between this and the other scene is that really it's just camera effects. So if we grab the camera here, we can see there's this script, the PSX shader manager, the post-process effects, example camera movement. Actually, that one we can ditch. I'm just gonna grab that. That camera movement is basically like an FPS controller that we don't need. But the rest of it, um, we can steal. We're gonna go into assets and check this. We're just gonna drag the other scene into this one. So now we zoom out. Oh, it's like a bright sunny day, and all the way over there, hey, check it out. That's our island of matter in a sea of digital stardust. And that guy is where we want to be. So we're just going to grab our camera from the PSX demo scene and drag it on into our PSX shader scene. And then we're going to right click on demo scene up here, which is the one we no longer need. We're going to hit right click, remove scene. And then here's what's super important. Click don't save. So now we have moved this camera asset, components and all, from the demo PSX scene to our scene. Although the camera itself is like 1,000 miles from home. So we got 7 ports. Oof, yeah. So we're going to hit 0, 0, 0 to zero out the transform of the camera. Oh, look at that. Now it's back in the subway where we belong. Underground in the darkness. That's where we want to be. And as you can see from that camera feed already, look at that. Some wobbly vertices. Beautiful. So, ooh, yeah, pixelated is all get out, but not responding to our character controller. So what we're going to want to do is grab Survival Horror Hero here, and we're going to, well, first, check it out. We're going to grab camera. We're going to lock this camera. So we've got the camera we just brought into the scene, and we're locking it so that we're always looking at an inspector. Now we're going to do something called adding another inspector. Very useful. Uh, for lack of a better feature for this in Unity, this is something you should know how to do. So you click on this here, 3 dots at the very top right, click Add Tab, and then add an inspector. And this is one of the few tab types you can add multiple of. You can't have multiple scene views, you can't have multiple game views, you can't have multiple project views, but you can have multiple inspectors, and that's because you're going to want to for, well, trading some functionality between game objects. So now we got these 2 inspectors. One of them's locked, one of them's not. Now check it. You drag inspector 1 over here. Boom. Wait, no. Okay, you can't. You can't control Z editor stuff. So watch out for that. Although it's usually not much of a problem. There we go. Drag this out a ways. So now we got 2 whole inspectors. Aren't we lucky? One of them is locked to the camera that we just brought into the scene, and the other one we will lock into the camera that we have attached to our player controller. So we got the main camera on the left here and the new camera on the right. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through and we're going to click on that, copy component, click on that, paste component values. And we're just going to do that a few times. So once again, if there's an object that doesn't, so this component right here, PSX Shader Manager, doesn't exist on this guy yet, so we're just going to click, boom, copy component, boom, paste component as new. Wonderful. Same over here, PSX post-process effect, copy component, paste component as new. Wonderful. And that's it. We have now added the functionality of this lovely camera to our ladies camera. And then that means you're done. We don't need you, kid. Just delete that other camera and click play. Oh my God, we've done it. We've done something. I can hardly see it. Christmas crackers. This is some very heavy pixelization effect. That's fine. Let's fix it. So we can go into the main camera again. You want to make sure you click on that. Oh, you can unlock the other inspector. And I like to keep multiple inspector tabs open, but I don't like them just out in the open like this. So I drag one inspector together, and there we go. So whenever you need to, just grab this guy out, drag him over, lock it up, and then you can, you know, trade components with friends. Very handy. Anyway, so it's going to click on over to the uh, main camera here. And we're going to scroll on down to the PSX Shader Manager. So here's where we do all the other fun stuff for our PSX shader effect. Now the particularly pixelated situation we got here is because our pixelation factor is set at 0.2 on the post-processing effect. I like to set that to 0.5 or even 1. Because at the end of the day, dithering scale here is what's creating a lot of this effect. And as long as you've got your project player panel settings set so that your resolution is low, or that you've got your game aspect ratio locked to 4:3, you know, which would be era appropriate. Um, you know, you can see you've still got like a pretty good sort of PSXy effect without having to apply that like absurd dithering and pixelization effect on top of your experience. So we've just made some changes while the game is running, which means if we click play again, all that stuff's going to undo itself. So what we're gonna do is to avoid that, any changes we've made while we're in the inspector, we're gonna click, or while we're in the play mode, we're gonna click on the inspector of that component. We're gonna click copy component, and then we're going to hit unplay, and then we're going to click back on the same component and click paste component value. Now that'll make it so that whatever we change while we're in the scene, it'll apply outside of the scene. So now we've got a pretty cool looking scene, looking a little bit more PSXy every day, but still a few things that I like to do in order to make it even more accurate. Now, you don't necessarily need to do this because it really does just make the scene look worse at the end of the day. But well, I'm a stickler for accuracy, so you can change things like the texture warping mode. So from stable to accurate, we'll make it so, see, as the camera plane gets closer to these vertices, it warps further. Now the way that the reason that's happening is well, you know, I don't rightly know. I've been doing this 10 years, and that's not usually a problem so much in modern game development. So unless you create that problem yourself, I don't really encounter it. So I don't really know why. Ask Penna Cohen on YouTube. Probably got something to do with, you know, alternate realities, half-held A presence and such. But in the meantime, we can also add the vertex wobble mode from clip space to view space. Uh, is actually it's actually something you might want to do, despite the fact that it is also less accurate. View space to clip space. So if you see further in the distance here, um, the difference between vertex, the clip space, and view space is that the effect is virtually diminished as you get further out when it's in view space. So it's really only the stuff that's really close to you that gets warped, and it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference in this picture, but it adds up if you're trying to, like, you know, suss out distant enemies or objects in the scene. But, you know, yeah, it doesn't look quite right. So yeah, clip space if you want accuracy. Same for retro vertex lighting here. See, you can drop this back and forth, and actually if you change your camera settings, like over here, see, you want to go to rendering path, use legacy vertex lit, and then turn this on. It doesn't actually change a great deal, um, but it just looks right. You could turn this up or down here. I like to turn it all the way up, as well as the fall off up as far as you can go it. And then we just center the flat shading mode. So, all right, we're gonna have to do some light drop some lighting effects in the scene so that you can see what this does. Um, So to set up some scene lighting, we're gonna grab these here lights. And the best way to do that, to grab all the lights in the scene, is to just literally type light into the hierarchy search function and shift select them all. And then get confused because these should all be lights. Light, 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 light. Ah, I see. So these lights down here, lights 1 through 9, are not lights. So they should be ignored um, as far as we're concerned. There we go. So now we've selected all of the actual light components within the scene, and we're gonna make sure that they are all, let's make sure that they're all spotlights. And that seems counterintuitive for now, but that's more or less all they had in the PSX days, and it'll do a lot to make it feel a little bit more classic. So let's just select here. And look at that. Already the scene's looking a bunch more bad, which is, again, what we'd like. So let's undo until we're selecting them all. We're going to lower them down a ways and make sure that they are in mode real time. Normally you wouldn't want this stuff rendered in real time. Um, but hell, we're just trying to get this done, you know? So let's also change the spot angle from uh, little to a lot. Oh my gosh, that's so the intensity on these is everything should be intensity 1. And then once we've done that, we can change the spot angle until, ooh, there we go. Now we're starting to see some lighting. So if we let's raise it so that you see here, like as we raise and lower the spot angle, you get these fun little like sections of lit and unlit space. So let's get it to about there. That seems nice. We could also set the range further. So the range, let's set it to 20. There you go. So now it's spreading out some ways. Okay, look at that. We're getting some color. Now let's set the intensity to 1.1, 2. No, let's just keep it at 1. And then change the spot angle down some ways again. I don't know, maybe 2 and then spot angle down. Get some dramatic lighting that way. There you go. So you can see the like fall off happening on her back now. Don't know why some of these lights are not getting through the objects that they're attached to. So let's maybe lower it a little bit. They might be clipping with the rest of the light fixtures. No, don't really know why these lights aren't working, but let's see. It's this section of track. Vertex lit? No, it's all vertex lit and it's all receiving shadows. It's cast lighting. Dynamically occluding. Um, Lights are a mystery. Who knows how lights work at the end of the day? It's truly impossible for us to tell. But um, at the end of the day, it's a good example of how we want to play around. White light. Okay, so we're getting some very direct fall off here. If we move this point light over, move the spotlight over, turn it to point. Yeah, what's happening with this particular section of track, you know? Um, what makes this different from the rest of the track? Don't care. Don't care. Let's see what happens if we just copy that section of track. Just shift select, boom. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, the second we move over one, like second it's no longer overlapping with this other section of track. The lights just go off. Fascinating. And ultimately inscrutable. This is just how these things tend to go. Unity doesn't want to be known, doesn't want to be understood. It's just a beautifully fickle mistress that we just need to appreciate or not. Confused though about why this particular section of track is not lighting. For now, let's not worry about it. We're going to move on to the rest of the tutorial. So let's check it out for a sec before we begin. Look at that. We're already just a lot more. I mean, shit. Might as well be the first level of Mad Max, or Max Payne, rather. It's looking pretty good. So, um, the last thing I wanted to do before we moved through the rest of the tutorial is so in the sample section you see this like ticket counter, right? Like I'm just passing through it right now, but I was able to vault over it in the sample section. And so this is how we're gonna utilize these barricades here. This particular barricade is set for drop. Let's change this. Let's find the vault only barricade. Where's that? There we go. That guy. We're gonna duplicate it and we're gonna drag it on over. We're gonna grab it and pull it on up. So that it is aligned with this here ticket counter. Make sure to go orthographic, scroll down, zoom in. There you go. So we're going to make sure it's as accurately lined up as possible. Lean it over here. It's actually almost perfect because it's going to be such that the trigger volume for the vault animation is almost perfectly lined up with the part you actually need to jump over, which is the little bars that flip on over through here. So let's scoot that forward just a smidge. And now what we're going to do is just turn off the mesh renderer for this. So it'll still collide, right? We've got the mesh function right here. That box glider will still collide, but we can just disable that there mesh renderer. Save the scene, click play, and give it a run forward. There you go. So if you hit R when you're running over that section of track there, give it a little vault. Yeah, it looks nice. As you can see, she's like uh, struggling to walk down the stairs here because the character controller is capable of sliding up and down stairs. So if, you know, like Uncharted style, if you're you know, running down a steep slope and suddenly it's a little bit too steep, you'll start to slide down it, and then have to like slide left and right to control it. Oh my God, she is uh, some kind of collider problems here. Let's see, what is the issue there? Is it is it this? Is it this section of track I dragged along? I think it might be. You know what? That wasn't necessarily the best idea, but that's okay. Because because at the end of the day, this is not a real tutorial. This is something that I made as a example to show the folks that I was hoping to work with, that I met on Upwork. So uh, I will actually do intend to finish this tutorial for officials, or not officials, just for my own purposes. But Arjun, I hope this was illustrative of my capacity to be someone who, well, makes Unity tutorials. And yeah, I look forward to working with you guys. I'm just gonna call it here and finish the rest of the stuff later. Uh, and post it on my YouTube for my own purposes. But yeah, so hope this was illustrative. You got yourself a lovely Unity scene here. Able to run around. You can see the really awesome, actually. The vertex effects here are looking amazing. Like the lighting on her back here, the vertex lighting, just fantastic. So, you know, the texture warping is a little absurd, and that can actually be solved for by changing the like um, uh, vert vertex effect. Again, I'm not. This part ain't going to YouTube. Whatever. Um, yeah. Hope this was hope this was useful. I'll finish this later. Send you the complete version if you're still interested. But OBS crash kind of threw me, so see you soon.